Merci beaucoup. Bonjour ou rebonjour à tous.
Thank you very much and good morning again, everybody. We are coming closer to the end of this conference, and we wanted to share a global idea about different topics, different approaches, especially on needs. And since yesterday, we can see that there are lots of common points. I mean, we can say that these are pieces of puzzle of a huge image, and every time we hear someone new, we are also discovering a new piece of this puzzle, and it's going to be the case with this panel. And with this panel, we are going to have great presentations again by different speakers. And thanks to the previous panels, we had the chance to understand how PES works, how specialized programs, in fact, help the vulnerable groups. And we also had the chance to understand the role of PES and, of course, the external parts to take into consideration the situation of the needs in a global framework. So the previous panel made a great proof of that, and right now we are going to talk about how to enhance the sustainability and the resilience of needs thanks to the services provided by PES. We need to consider that it is not fatal, and the interventions that we are going to hear is going to show us how we can encourage the needs and the possibility of formation for needs, in fact, and how they can help to evolving the
de l'emploi peuvent construire une passerelle durable
job market. And it is also going to help us to have a smoother transition, especially towards work and for a longer term. Of course, the status of needs show an urgent intervention, but we need them to be able to integrate into the work market, job market, during their path, the path of formation and professional life. Right now we are going to listen to our three speakers, and the first one is going to Mehriban RasulovaHead, Department Chief of Vocational Formation in APEA. She had an experience more than 10 years in the field of education, and she is working in lots of different institutions, including the Ministry of Education of Azerbaijan, Examen Center, or the High School of Petrol of Baku. And she received his information in UK, in the University of Glasgow. And she is also playing an active role to develop the mechanisms in order to improve the quality of vocational training depending on the needs of the work market and, of course, the needs of the people learning. I'm going to ask you to take the scene, and we're going to listen to you to understand how we can, in fact, encourage the needs and how we can make it easier for them to have a job and to be integrated in the work market. Thank you.
So much too.
Just sorry. Hello, everyone. Good morning again. Hope you're feeling refreshed after coffee break. I want to express my gratitude and also excitement to be here, and I'll try to be quite short and to the point with my presentation and to enlighten some crucial points regarding to vocational training. During the whole presentations yesterday and today, we talked a lot about policy-making issues, right? To reach more needs, how to deal with their problems. But frankly speaking, I believe that policies are not enough without proper execution and implementation. So we, in Public Employment Agency in Azerbaijan, in Vocational Training Department, we are in the heart of execution and implementation process alongside with policy making. So we as a small team really try to bring hands-on practice and measure everything, very practical point of view in order to enhance the quality of the program and to encourage more needs. So, where's the clicker? Sorry. So, I do believe that to develop any product, let's think about vocational training as a product. We have customers, we have customer pain points, and to have better products, you have to understand the pain points of your customers better and better with the whole clarity, right? And here I tried to shed light on some inner voice of our clients, what they think, what they feel when it comes to attending vocational training. Do they really need it? Should they really attend? And what's their whys, right? For many of them, these reasons may not resonate with you, but I'm sure that it resonates with our client audience, with NEET audience, because what's next after vocational training? What will happen after vocational training? This might be the first question of a NEET young person. For some of them, it's not affordable in terms of logistical point of view or financial point of view. For some of them, it's going to be the repetition of education again, because as Michael mentioned, not all of our audience, not all of the NEETs are uneducated. Some of them do have qualification, and attending another vocational training is going to be another useless point again. So why do they need to attend vocational training in the second time? For some of them, it's not possible. It may seem impossible, especially for people with disabilities, for the young with disabilities. And for some of them, starting the vocational training is like starting everything from the scratch, and this may seem scary and discouraging. So to understand their different needs and different problems help us to design our approach and product in order to address their different needs. And I truly believe that our main role and responsibility is to make vocational training accessible and attractive enough for our NEET customers. How we do this? I'll try to give brief information and maybe insights about how we can design our vocational training product better for the NEETs. So basic points, one of the basic points is, of course, financing. A basic yet crucial point is financing, because we talked a lot about the financial situation, welfare of those clients, of those customers. So financing is at the very basic. Design of the programs, transition to work, validation and recognition of skills are another important points when it comes to encouraging NEETs to come to vocational training and build their life and build resilience in changing labor market. I will share our experiences, best practices in Azerbaijan as well, while I'm talking about the general approaches. So financing, as we've already talked about this, majority of the NEET population obviously live in suburban areas, and with lower access to better welfare and lifestyle. So they do definitely need financial support. I'm sure many of the countries, at least many European countries, provide stipends, allowances, or pocket money to their clients, customers, but a couple countries, I think, they might not have this policy or this approach. This is definitely one of the most encouraging things when it comes to participation costs and logistical costs. In Azerbaijan, we do cover their participation costs. I mean, the training fee. We cover their transportation fee. And also we pay a monthly stipend equal to minimum wage in Azerbaijan, equal to minimum average wage in Azerbaijan, sorry. The second important thing is design of programs, because we need to bear in mind that our audience, most of them most probably have negative experience with education, right? If they never had this negative experience with education or training, they would have been encouraged enough to come and knock our doors. So design of the programs, the practical point of the programs to cover their needs, and all kinds of needs, not only learning needs, but also accessibility needs and everything is very important. So this definitely should be very practical, because we are not talking about here higher education or long-term education. This is vocational training, and in Azerbaijan we do this within 6 months. And this should be very practical. We have the practice of having 50% of the program on the site, doing very practical work. So another approach is to have flexible learning, because some of our NEETs audience have family responsibilities. They might have young motherhood, I wouldn't call this problem, but case. Some of them are young mothers, so they have family responsibilities. So to have online education, online platforms for them to reach out vocational training is important, at least to cover half of the program online way, and another half an on-site way is very important to encourage them at least to start learning, right? And the competence-based programs are another important point. Here, modularization, I believe modularization comes as a solution, because our whole programs, well, we used to have traditional vocational training programs where it starts from A and ends at Z, but since audience is very different, audience is changing, and they have couple skills, some of them don't have any skills, some of them have previous work experience, informal learning experience, we need to be able to adapt and be flexible enough to attract them training modules. So our modules should be competence-based and modularized enough for them not to start from A and end in the Z, right? They can be able to finish their programs within 2 months, 3 months as well. I know it's a big challenge. The same for us in Azerbaijan, because modularization also requires prior assessment of attendees, right? You need to assess their prior skills in order to match them modules. This is a complicated process. This is a huge workload, I can imagine, and it needs proper mechanisms to deal with this, the different range of skills, different range of assessment types, actually, because this is not only theoretical assessment, they also need to cover the practicals, to test practical skills. So we definitely won't have multiple choice tests that help us. We need people, we need assessors who would see and assess their skills and define where they should start from. Another important point that we can encourage our NEETs to come to vocational training and make vocational training, 10 minutes already over. Sorry. Another important point to make this attractive enough is to show them the next step. Because vocational training is like a training process. No one expects this program and with a job guarantee, employment guarantee, right? We need to make we need to create awareness and also, of course, expectation and, of course, meet those expectations after the training. And in Azerbaijan, I think we have quite good practice related to this, because vocational training in Azerbaijan is conducted through several, more than 100 vocational training partners. And when we sign contracts with them, our quality metric for those trainings is employment rate in the end. So, for example, if a temp completes vocational training, at least 5 of them, 50% of them, should go to employment within 3 or 6 months after completion of training. This is how we try to check the quality of vocational training, and this also helps create more motivation to come to vocational training, actually. Here you see employability and soft skill case. What I want to tell about this, in vocational training, you purely teach job-related skills, plumbing, cooking, etc. But now, especially when it comes to building resilience, sustainability, it's not enough to teach job-related skills, as you might agree, because people need employability skills, how to find job, how to seek for job, how to, prepare for the interview, how to write their resumes. So we need to cover these skills as well, so that people can go independently, find their own job, or even they quit, they can start again, not without needing us help them. So with our providers, we are on the way of adding some modules to training programs as well, so that they can get basic skills, employability skills, and soft skills as well. And validation recognition is a very important, crucial point, because our audience comes with some skills, whether they gained it through formal education or informal training. What our difficulty in Azerbaijan is to currently creating this basis and the working mechanism of validating their prior skills that gained through informal learning. We do have agency, we do have government body for this process, and we are closely working with them in order to expand the coverage of professions, because it comes to assessment process, and it's very wide range, very different. Since we have more than 200 vocational training courses and thousands of skills, so we need to create a working mechanism to validate their skills. When we validate, we can implement modularization as well. And some of these assessment processes, assessment criteria would give a person vocational education diploma as well. This would help them to go to higher education, because, as you might know, sometimes informal learning certificates are not recognized in a credit system, and the person cannot go to higher education. But depending on profession, depending on assessment type, depending on the range of modules, the government body that provides the service, they also give vocational education diploma as well as a result of assessment, so the person can proceed to another levels of education, which is another encouraging point. Because this would also help to change their profession totally. For example, a person can come with higher education degree of journalism, for example, but they start, again, plumbing. That's the first example that I can remember. And they can go to assessment, get their diploma, and then continue with higher education to related higher, of course, professions, but with the basis rate of this. Another important, I think this is my final point, is creating maybe branding vocational training for employers and for job seekers, for NEETs as well. Maybe it might be the case in your country or not, but this was the case in our country, that vocational education lost its reputation for so many years, for maybe more than 10 years. So we are trying to make it again reliable source of education, reliable source of training, and reliable source of getting reliable source of getting skills again in the education system. So for this we need branding, and for branding this we need more success stories. This would also create awareness as well. This would encourage more NEETs, and also will make it easy to for their transition to job market, because employers now in Azerbaijan would be suspicious about to take people from vocational training or not. Is this call good enough to get a person from vocational training? So this is another target that we are working on it, and hopefully in a couple next years we will reach to this level of awareness and quality and branding of vocational training in Azerbaijan. And regional outreach, again, throughout 2 days, we've been talking about where those people live, and many statistics show that suburban areas, we have more NEETs. So coverage is very important point to eliminate the number of NEETs and make our vocational training accessible. In Azerbaijan, we have, in order to reach our NEETs in regions, we work with more than 100 vocational training providers. In around 200 fields of training. We do have our own vocational training centers that belong to Public Employment Agency, and we work with private providers, and we encourage them go from capital, from city centers to suburban areas to provide vocational training there as well. We also work with vocational schools, which are under Ministry of Education, because they also have short-term programs. And currently we're working on apprenticeship program, which is which might be very practical and very helpful when it comes to areas that you cannot have a group of trainees, like collective employers. So only thing you need to find the person and one employer and match them to start their training. So apprenticeship would be really helpful. In this, for now, we have 4 vocational training centers. This is an additional information. We have 4 vocational training centers in Azerbaijan, but by 2030, we aim to have 10 vocational training centers throughout the country to cover larger regions. This is basically the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Mehriban, for this first presentation. That was very interesting, who gave us the possibility to put the basis of our topic for the following interventions. I will now become a speaker, and I will present you a measure that is used in France called youth engagement, youth implication. This contract was established in March 2022, so it's been a little more than 1.5 years that we have this contract. What is important is that for youth and the sustainable employment, this is a topic that we treated yesterday. We said that the behaviors are not the same and the job market is evolving, and we have a diversity of life project and a diversity of our relationship to work. The new behavior of youth on the labor market does not reflect the entire current young population. All young people are not getting far away from the job market, and they do not behave in the same manner, and we have new behaviors coming onto the scene. We have this zapping generation changing from one job to another. They will have short-term contract. They will not be loyal to the company. These tendencies exist, but it does not reflect the global young population, and the relation to work evolves regarding to based on different variables. The value labor is treated in a research. The social position of young people are very important when we are looking at the value that they are giving to labor and to work. It is important for them to have a job. They are talking about security of jobs. These are young people coming from unqualified young people, and on the other hand, those who are well qualified, well skilled, they have diplomas, etc. They will talk about the balance between the private life and work life, their relation with their colleagues, being autonomous, etc. They will mention all these different concepts. So there is a very complex situation, complex process that we have, and that will shape our relation with the work. These tendencies, these trends give us the possibility to better understand the heterogeneity of the youth population that we have in hand, and also as a PS, we can better mobilize in a more efficient way our contracts for youth implication. So this contract that I will present to you is constructed to find for young people who want to come back to the job market. The youth commitment contract has an objective to provide an access to jobs, if possible, durable jobs, if not, at least a job that will continue during at least 6 months. We have some pillars, the pillars of the youth commitment contract. I will come back to them. It's a program that is quite intensive. I will develop this concept of intensivity. This is, we have a counselor that will accompany each young person during 15 to 20 hours per week. It will last 6 months, this process of accompanying the young person, and they have to have a relationship, a close relationship built on trust with their counselor, so they can easily accept a training or a job. On the same manner, the counselor should be committed to work with the young person, and the young person should do should take some steps in order to find a job or an internship. And the young person will receive up to 528 euros per month under the framework of this contract. There is a regular contact with the young person. The young person is not obliged to come each time to the PES, and we can have an exchange, flexible exchange in real time with the young person. It gives us the possibility to be more reactive, more agile in this accompanying work that we are doing with this with these young people. The monitoring is direct and frequent. During 6 months, every day we have this monitoring. We are working to develop the autonomy of the young person, so the young person can engage himself or herself in the right way and in time. This is a very intensive program, and we have follow-up in employment once the young person is recruited somewhere. When presented like that, we can think that it's well constructed, this program, but also we have some challenges. We have some points that can become complicated. For instance, we have this problem during the youth commitment contract. The young person should develop a project and realize it. Maybe they will think that it wasn't a good idea, so they might change their mind, and they might start from the beginning, reconstruct a new project, and sometimes this contract will go beyond these 6 months because the young person decided to change her project. There is place for experimenting, for changing the things, and the contract should not be linear. Another thing which is important to note is that there might be some work experiences via short-term, very short-term contracts. The objective is, as we said, to have long-term contracts, but sometimes young people are not ready to sign a long-term contract. They might have material, financial, psychological problems which prevent them from signing a long-term contract. So they might have successive short-term contracts that will construct a solid foundation that will allow them to be recruited under a long-term contract. So these will be successive experiences for these young people. From the side of the counselors, we have to think about how they can attract them, how they can attract these young people toward jobs that are not really interesting for them at the beginning. We have some support in that program. The counselors mentions regularly the difficulties that young people are encountering with peripheral obstacles. They lack support and confidence, etc. And this is at that level that this intensive meetings with the counselor will play its role. The young person will feel considerate, and he will feel understood. She will feel understood. They will be able to launch a dynamism from the beginning and maintain this dynamism on the long run during the 6 months. It might be small actions, modest actions. However, it will will teach the young person to reappropriate the rules of the company, how he or she should talk with the colleagues according to the place where they are working, etc. We have also collective phases. I'm thinking about other experiences. We had many experiences presented here yesterday. For a lot of young people, we need really personalization, individualization, but we need also a collective approach. The socializing part of the work is very important, and this can rupture the isolation that young people are suffering from. And here I would like to make a link with the resilience, because the resilience will be gained through these social interactions taking place in the long run. From the very beginning of this youth commitment contract, we observed what was happening, and we realized that we have some levers that are particularly interesting, efficient, and powerful to find solutions. One of them is the fact that having a sponsorship and not being pushed only by the counselor of the PES, but also by the representative of their profession. So these people will not act only as employers, but they will act as sponsors, and it will attract more young people to these areas, to these sectors. Another important issue is the training. Mobility assistance are very helpful. It will give the possibility to the young person to be engaged in the career that he or she wants to have. It is important that the young people can get an experience, and he or she can understand what is interesting and what is not in the field. Something in between training and work. We have the alternance contract. We have these alternance contracts. We have been inspired by German experience, and France decided to invest massively in that alternance contract. And to finalize, I would like to present you some profiles that we find frequently. It's not working anymore. So we have some model trajectories. That's great. We have some profiles, real experience from the real experience of young people, some trajectories that worked. There's a young lady, her name is Emmanuel. She was working on fishery. She has a diploma in fishery. She's coming from a difficult family, and she was lacking self-confidence. She has a past quite complicated. And with the counselor, they worked together. They worked on confidence and on her image, and they also worked on more professional aspects, and she could gain additional skills. She participated to collective workshops to socialize with other people, to gain confidence. She met a work psychologist. She made an immersion with an employer ready to recruit her, and she finally could get a long-term contract. She will feel much more better professionally, but also personally. This is one of the success cases of our youth commitment contract. This is a young man. I like his case because Dailun is the first young person who signed the first contract under our program. He came to France from Mayotte. Mayotte is one of the region of France that is located overseas, and he did not have a close family. He had very serious administrative problems. He was isolated, no close relatives. We had a real process to accompany him with counselors. There was a team around him. They helped him to construct a project and to progress. He created his project, and he was sponsored by an employer. He found his way. He could train himself. He obtained his driving license for heavy vehicles, and he started to work in a transportation company with a long-term contract. I will not take more of your time. I will stop here, and I will thank you for your patience and for your attention. I will leave the floor to my colleague. Thank you. I remain here 2 more minutes because I will become once again the moderator, and I will present you Eva. He will take the floor. She is working at the National Agency for the Employment since 10 years. She is working in Lithuania. She occupied a different position for the PES. She directed the project of betterment for the forecasting of job market. Since 2 years, Eva is in charge of the department for the development and the analytics. She is also a counselor for PSC affairs in Europe. She is working for the European network for PES. She is working on the institutional development, planification, public relation, international relations, statistic work, forecasts on job market, services for the beneficiaries, and a call center. She's working on all these issues, so she has a very large domain of work. So Eva will now present you how the PS of Lithuania constructed a very inspiring program to help young NEETs to find their place in the area of technology in their country in this field of work. Thank you.
Thank you. At first, I would like to thank all organizers for possibility to be here, and especially for Nicole. She assisted me in every step of application, participation, and preparing a presentation, and also for moderator of my panel, Sandrine. Thank you very much for all what you have done. And I know that I'm the last before the lunch, but I will be short. And I would like to present our experience in one concrete project called Women for IT. And I would like to start with some numbers to show why this project was so important to us, and we are very happy about the results. Some numbers about digital skills learned with our help. So our clients in 3 years who used the possibility to learn digital skills in our offered trainings. We can see that women are 3 times more than the men, and they are more willing to use this possibility to learn some digital skills in our programs. And that includes also vocational, professional, and also trainings in online course platforms. If we look on a profile of our client, clients who are registered in our portal, who are in the status of unemployed, 34% of women show that they have some digital skills, and that's more than the men. But the different situation is in our labor market. If we look on numbers in the labor market and the employees in ICT sector, then the men are more than the women, and we want to make it more equal both sides. And that's why it was so important to promote this sector to women and gain their participation in ICT sector. Project Women for IT. Project was implemented by Latvian Information and Communication Technology Association together with State Employment Agency. Okay, sorry, thank you. And this is very important that the project was implemented in cooperation of 2 organizations, because the Information and Communication Technology Association is the profession, and they know what digital skills is needed in the labor market, and they also are the best in the field how to teach them and how to learn them. But in our side, in State Employment Agency side, we have career consultants, and we have a very close cooperation with employers, and we know also what is needed in the labor market. The aim of the project was to increase the number of young women employed in the ICT sector by developing the digital competencies of young women who are at the risk of exclusion from the labor market, improving their employability, and increasing the ICT specialist number of ICT specialists who worked in this sector. The target group for project was young women and also the NEETs. And the impact was to create the supportive environment for young women to feel safe and open up for education opportunities and challenges, and help them to learn and discover new satisfying career paths and start the career in ICT sector. And the project was funded, has its own funding targeted to exactly this audience. Steps, how the project was implemented. So we started with, of course, promotion, and promotion in 2 ways. One was the media, social networks, and publicly available information campaigns, and the other, more important even part, was direct addressing of potential participants by personalized calls, emails, and looking for them how to get the personalized contact. The next step for participants was application. There were possibility to apply online, but each participant who applied also received call from us or from LICTA, received call to discuss all steps of the project, importance of the project, and all unclear things to be a woman very known about that, what will be the process and what they will receive at the end. And the last step of application was the performing tests. in order to more successfully choose the field of study and digital profile to learn, the women assess their existing digital skills and their suitability for various professions. After application, the next one is selection of candidates, because it was not possible to offer this project for all who wanted that. So based on the results of the tests, were selected candidates for this, and they started studies according to specially created program for 3 months. Consultations. During studies, they also received individualized consultations. And at the end, we also, as we know our labor market and our employers, we know the information what they need. We help for women to setting into the work. But what I want to stress out that what was very important in this project and kind of this project also who other places are implementing, that individual roadmap and individual approach was used. Individual roadmap by professional mentor was created for each participant, and assistants were available at all the time. As I said, the project was implemented in cooperation with 2 institutions, and our main role in this project was to addressing the girls, emailing the target group, and also we looked outside our registered clients to look for needs with our social partners and social services, also to personalize calls and possibility to use career counseling to better discuss this possibility and this sector and job possibilities in the sector. And also our role was in providing information in cooperation with employers and information about vacancies for participants, and we supported them to prepare for interviews, to make CVs, how to behave in the interviews. And also we organized the seminars with industry specialists and career consultants about this sector and professions. Also the individualized approach also is mentioned here because it was the main success factor for this project. The result, what was program promoted, there was 3 main results: increased participation in the education and training, employment situation of NEETs target group was improved, and innovative approach on lowering youth unemployment was used. And the project has created attractive employment opportunities for young people in digital economy and developed the digital competencies for young women. Also some numbers here. So total in this project there participated, the trainings finished 177 young women, and you can see the 5 profiles of IT sector which were chosen. And we are very proud that 65% of participants who finished the trainings find a job immediately in the sector. So 177% may seem not so much for you, but Latvia is a small country, and we have inhabitants 1.8 million. So in Turkey you have 84 million, if I'm correct. So it's we are 47 times smaller. That's also our numbers are usually smaller. And a little bit in the feedback, what girls said about the project. The program helped me change my life, find my dream career. The manual testing course was the perfect amount of theoretical and practical knowledge. The Women Project introduced me to IT technologies. I gained the valuable technological and practical experience as a web developer, and I was very happy to cooperate with State Employment Agency consultants. Help me in a job search strategy. And a little bit more about one of story of experience. So one of our participants, Elena, Elina got to know about the project from advertisement in the social media, and during the campaign, Elina, who previously had worked in marketing and advertisement industry, applied to tester course. Successfully graduated and received a paid internship in one of the leading testing companies in Latvia. The training course provided an opportunity to understand free of charge what lies behind the testing information and systems to gain insight into the background. And she started work in another company already as a head of development group. Thank you for your attention.
Très bien. Un grand merci à...
Thank you very much to both of you for all these presentations. I think we have 15 minutes for Q&As, for information exchange. You can ask your questions. Maybe we can start with the Q&A session. I can be the first one to ask the question. Mehriban,
Maybe if I could ask you, according to what you presented, could you tell us in which sectors did the participants manage to find a job? Is it related, is it linked with shortages or not?
Yes, thank you very much for your question. And of course, in English, the reason why I asked you to switch to English is because to understand what you mean correctly, just to address to your question. Thank you. And currently, the employment rate of vocational training attendees and those who completed actually the program is 76%, and they found jobs in different fields that are quite there is shortages in Azerbaijan. These are IT sector, of course, as in the world, we in Azerbaijan also have shortages for employees in IT sector. They also found work in tourism sector, not that many of them, but a smaller audience, smaller part of them found job in agriculture. So, of course, the advantage of vocational training courses in Azerbaijan is that we coordinate this and we conduct these courses together with employers. So without understanding the employer, without understanding their needs correctly, we do not launch a course. Because otherwise there will be again gaps between and mismatch between them. So definitely this addresses to shortages where there are shortages in job market. Thank you.
Très bien, merci.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? I think our audience has some questions. We're gonna need the microphone, please.
My question would refer to Pôle emploi. As I understood, one challenge in your institution is the process of matching young people to concrete jobs. And in concrete jobs and in concrete sectors, since vacancies that appear in these sectors might not be considered attractive to these young needs. In Switzerland, we also currently observe the challenge of skill shortages in various sectors, such as restoration, hotellery, IT, the medical sector, and construction. And one tendency I observe in Switzerland that is an increased openness of employers when it comes to work arrangements. So my question would refer to Pôle emploi, but maybe also to Azerbaijan and Latvia, whether you observe in your countries an increased openness on the side of the employers when it comes to being ready to agree to adapted work arrangements, such as, for example, a 4-day week that includes also a wage compensation component.
Okay. I can start, and then if you want to complete.
First of all, I would like to share an information which is really important. In Europe, there are lots of different levels of tension in different industries proposed by the PES, and in France, France is the country with the highest number of intention sectors. So we have a very important job. Not only traditional or conventional industry, just like construction or services. It's a challenge. It's a difficulty, but it also opens up new opportunities for us because there are lots of possible employment opportunities. And on the other hand, these professions, jobs that's attracting, especially for the young people. We have been talking about this since yesterday in a different order, but in France, the contract, open-ended contracts, in fact, is a way to convince the employers. And I will leave you some time to answer the question, but I think that one of the actions, concrete actions that we can take is to start from a local level, to organize one-on-one meetings, to visit companies, to discover new jobs, to discover new dimensions, or to create periods for these young people that they can spend time in a company, but it's going to be free of charge, of course, for a short period of time, so that they can discover a profession on the site. I think that it would be the best way, the most concrete action to take, and it would help us to have an image in our head, and it can also help these people to change their ideas and of course meet their needs. And same goes for employers as well as for the young people who are looking for a job. I believe that one-on-one meetings, discussions, or all these exchanges help people, especially when it is conducted on the side, and it is quite intensive, especially recently in France.
Thank you for the question. Before answering, I wanted to be sure that did I get it correct, that is employers open up for different target groups of employers? Yeah? No?
Work arrangements, flexibility, 4 days of work.
Work arrangements, yeah. In our situation, in situation of Latvia, we have a lack of labor force. So employers need to be open up for different possibilities to attract more employees for them. So it's slowly, but it's becoming in different kind of job possibilities. And also the COVID showed us that there is a possibility to work remotely and also not work to full day for a week, but take some just part of work or be self-employed and do some jobs on the agreement, like on different agreements.
In Azerbaijan, we are not at that point, and the reason is that our population is still young, and up until 2050, the tendency is like the population is going to be young till that time. So our employers, frankly speaking, do not really feel the shortage. So we are still on another side of the river. I mean, we are trying to motivate employers just to accept and help us with vocational training and provide opportunity to organize trainings. As for work arrangement, we have legislation of 5 days of work. Of course, after COVID-19, flexibility came to couple companies, especially, again, those who are dealing with IT sectors, but they can provide it. I mean, they are quite independent, free on this decision. But we do not push, or we do not try to stimulate or motivate them to create different work arrangements for now. So our purpose is different at this phase.
oui, je crois qu'il y a une autre question.
I think there are two other questions. We only have 4 minutes left. Thank you so much, Madam. Thank you for giving me this chance to ask this question. I have a question for our colleague from Azerbaijan and Latvia. You talked about validation and recognition processes. You talked about it, but I am not sure if this validation is centered on the knowledge or competencies. And is there a formal framework? For example, for us, this is not the case. What about the PESs? What are they in terms of this validation and recognition? What do they think? What is their level, and is there a national coverage for that?
Thank you for your question. So validation and recognition in vocational training fully based on competences. We have national, as every country, we have national qualification framework, and based on this qualification framework, we organize vocational training, and in the end, we assess on those based on those criteria. So we're fully on competence-based form, but tests themselves, assessment process themselves has two parts, of course, theoretical part and practical part, and we do both, but mainly rely on practical assessment to identify skills. So this is what works actually, because otherwise this is going to be formal education, and we will come to the same point again.
Oui, une dernière question.
One final question, and I think after that we can finish on time.
Thank you for the presentation. I will ask 3 questions.
I can't find you, sorry. We can't find you. There. Okay.
Thank you for the presentation. I will ask 3 questions. My first question is, are there international labor mobility policies to bring NEETs into the workforce in the European Union or OECD countries? France and Latvia may answer, please. My second question, do you provide work visas and work permit facilities for NEETs in the European Union and OECD countries? My third question is, do they get work permits and work visas under the same condition as other people?
Ce sont trois questions un peu complexes.
These are 3 complicated questions. I couldn't answer all of them in the time we have left. And for France, at least, I'm going to ask you to come and find me so that we can give you a more complete answer if you agree with that, because I think it's going to be a little bit, we're going to need a little bit more research, and I think that it will be better for us to answer later, if it's okay for you too. Did you hear the translation? Can you hear me right now? I think there was another question. I think there was really the final question, please, because we don't have time. Hello, thank you for giving me the word. My name is Bashir, and I am working in the SPAE of Martini. I would like to thank you for your presentations. I think it has been a great panel, and I also have a question two questions for Madam Mehriban and one for Madam Sandrine. What are the dispositive of the follow-up? What do you use to evaluate the efficiency of the vocational trainings that you are providing? Secondly, what about the mobilization? What are the tools that you are using for outreaching? And for Madame Sandrine, if I understood correctly, the contracts have lots of different categories for youngsters. So what are the advantages presented within the framework of these contracts? Thank you very much. I will answer very quickly. For these contracts, in fact, we are trying to take in charge all the young people who are in difficulties, not only NEETs. They can all become the beneficiaries. There are no other compensations, complementary payments, but if the NEETs are in a difficult situation and if they need to have a longer time, yes, we can do that, and we can also offer them the mobilization so that they can continue to receive these services for employment.
To assess the efficiency, we have two measures actually. One is proactive, another is I would call reactive. The proactive part is when we sign contracts with providers, we have a condition in the contract that the person who gets a job in the end of the vocational training, they should have at least 3 months contract with the employer. And so in order to maintain them in the job market, not to leave them immediately after a month. This is the preventive action. And another tool that we're trying to understand efficiency is monitoring and getting data from the database, respective databases, and to understand within how many days they entered to the job market and how many days they've stayed in the job market, for example, within a year, how much they've earned, how much tax they've paid to the country, to the government back. So there are a couple of metrics that we get data from respective databases or governmental databases, and to understand if they are good enough or not, in which fields we have strengths and which fields where we still need to work on, in which professions we need to still work on. As for mobilization, if I've understood you correctly, you meant outreach, right? In regional outreach. We have 13 regional branches throughout the country, and our regional branches, it doesn't relate only vocational training. This is branches of public employment agency, and they work with all audiences, with young women, NEETs, and everyone. They can apply, or they would reach out. So based on these applications, I would call, we start working with them.
Okay, thank you so much for all your questions, and thank you so much also to the panelists and Sandrine for moderating this session. This concludes our panel number 4 for today.